Hello there, welcome to MattHrusc. This is Michael, once again with interesting stories from around the world. Let's start with first, quite alarming news. We have less than 10 years to avert climate catastrophe. Climate change is happening earlier and more rapidly than expected. Carbon dioxide emissions have increased by 4.8% last year, which indicates there's a chance of reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming within the decade. The maximum 1.5 degrees Celsius is a goal set by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC). Warming beyond this degree could set devastating events around the world, with higher risks of droughts, floods, extreme heat, and poverty for hundreds of millions of people. In order to avoid this outcome, the IPCC estimates that gas emissions must be cut off by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. But at current trends, warming most likely will be reached in 2031 or even before. Then reversing these trends is essential if the world plans to avoid reaching the 1.5 threshold. We hope governments will urgently take unprecedented changes, enact new policies, and act aggressively to cut off greenhouse gas emissions. Otherwise, our planet will become unlivable in less than 10 years. Next, we might have been calling wrongly Machu Picchu. The ancient Inca site and one of the most famous archaeological places in the world may not be called Machu Picchu, but Picchu or Huayna Picchu. The discovery comes from a written analysis of historical documents, including maps and atlases. The Journal of Andean Archaeological suggests the name Machu Picchu was not associated with the archaeological ruins until 1911, when archaeologist and explorer William Bingham first visited the place. There is significant evidence from early 20th century maps of the region, and centuries-old land documents that suggest the Inca City was actually called Picchu or Huayna Picchu. This isn't the first time a discovery was made about this place. Last year, researchers discovered the ruins were not built after 1440, as initially believed, but several decades earlier. By the way, currently the steep peak behind the ruins is called Huayna Picchu, while the sloped one is called Machu Picchu. Regardless of the name, we have to admit this place is magnificent. Last story for the day, plastic waste can be dissolved by a new amazing enzyme. Plastic pollution has become a frequent topic of discussion recently. More than 400 million tons of plastic waste is produced each year, the majority of which ends up in landfills. According to the OECD, only 9% is recycled. So far, there are ongoing initiatives to tackle this issue. Earlier in March, the United Nations Environment Assembly that paves the way for a treaty on plastic pollution, and there are other individual governmental initiatives, as well as scientific researches. Of the latter, there is a promising technology. Scientists have developed an enzyme called subtitle from PlasticEating Bacteria that is able to help break down efficiently terephthalate (TPA), one of the chemical components of PET plastic, which is used to make single-use drinking water bottles, clothing, and carpets. It is hoped this discovery will open the door to improve bacterial enzymes, which in turn can help tackle the challenge of plastic pollution and develop systems that can convert waste plastic into other valuable products. We hope all these initiatives and new technologies will contribute to better management on plastic waste. And that's all for this edition. If you like the story, share with your friends and contacts. And if not yet a subscriber, click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching MattHrusc. This is Michael and see you next time.